Hello everyone, I came in just a tad bit early so that I can get set up. Hope you guys are having a great evening tonight. We're going to be doing some print and cutting. Let's see. So I'm just sending everyone the invite now. I hope after this tutorial you guys won't be so intimidated with print and cutting. It's actually, this live is going to go a little differently because I'm going to try to move at a good pace. So whatever questions you guys have, you can post them in the comments. And after I finish the live, I will go through the comments to make sure I tackle everyone's questions. Because I want us to be able to move smoothly without being interrupted. Okay. Today is Monday, you guys. I've been incredibly busy today. I had a last minute order that I felt sorry for the girl, so I took it. Now, if you have any questions about print and cut, you can actually ask them now when I'm getting set up and letting everybody know that we're on. Let me see. Hello everyone coming in. Let me check my chat. Here we go. Hey Tyva, I was watching the etching video. How did you like it, Rhonda? Hello Angie. Hey you guys. Well, tonight hopefully I will be able to give you some clarification on your print and cut. We're actually going to start from beginning to end all the way to the pressing because I actually have an oversized shirt, a color that I absolutely love. And I'm going to make it into a sleeper shirt. Okay, just send the invite. That Nicole, you guys, that I did in the glass etching. Hey, you guys coming in. The Nicole that I did in the glass etching, oh, I absolutely love it. That's actually what we're going to do tonight in the print and cut. Because, you know, Nicole's my middle name. So, I'm going to put Nicole on my sleeper shirt. Because I want to see how it's going to turn out anyway. So, let's see. I'll go ahead and post on the page. Get my computer up, and hopefully after I do this tutorial we won't have to do an on-screen, that it will be explained enough to where I don't have to go back and do it on-screen and do the same thing. And plus my computer is being slow. Let me see. Okay, you guys. Okay, so now I'm going to open up my Cricut design space. Okay, let me check your comments real quick, see if you guys have any questions thus far. Let's see, I've done some print and cut also. I tried, Rhonda, thank you for tuning in. I tried to make my print and cuts as clear as I can with my tutorials, period. Because I remember when I first started crafting, a lot of the questions I had, I couldn't find the answer to, or I found tutorials that were just like long and drawn out, and by the time I got finished, my questions were still not answered. So that's the part the way I was like, well, shoot, my question is still not answered. I feel dumber than what I did when I first came in, you know? So I try to, when I do my tutorials, I try to do it in a way to where I can reflect back to that girl that I used to be. And like, okay, Tyva, if you were a newbie again, what information would be vital to you? So I try to go from there. Okay, you guys, we're about to get started. Now, a paper that I've been successful with my print and cut is Avery for Darks fabric transfers. For print and cut, I do not like using the light transfers because the light transfers, I really personally have not been successful with them and they haven't given me the look that I wanted. So I don't ever buy the light transfers. In this demonstration, we're going to use Avery for Dark fabric transfers. And also, starting off, it wouldn't be a bad idea to try a couple different brands to see which one you like, because in my classes, a lot of the girls prefer to work with different types of fabric transfer. So this is what I'll be using in a demonstration. They look like this. It's kind of like a sticker. That's the back end, and it comes with 3 slits that I'm going to show you here. And then it comes with this right here. You know, that's the blank side. That's the printable side. So this is the back end. This is the printable side. So I haven't printed with my printer in a while. So I'm going to do a test print. And it might not be a bad idea. Now, about the printer. A lot of the girls are like, Tyva, why are your prints so vibrant? You know, what are you doing to get such vibrant prints? Well, this is a printer that I actually lifted from my mom. It is called a Kodak Barite printer. She purchased hers from a third party, but I purchased mine from Walmart. This printer was regular price at $250. And now it's at Walmart for $49, I believe. And it's a hot item, you guys. Very hot item. I absolutely love my Barite. I call it Barite. It comes with a scanner. The ink that's in here is actually designed to print on photos. So if you want to go research the ink there, that's the XL. A lot of my girls got this printer on Black Friday last year. That's when we had our Cricut and print and cut class. So if you want to go online and look up these cartridges, check out the prices. And with this, it actually has different size cartridges that contain different sizes inks. But this ink is specially designed to print on fabric. So it's really good for printing on transfers. So what we're going to do is I'm going to slide here. That is what I'll be print cutting today. And you guys going to see something really crazy. Because like, look, these letters right here, these letters will have to be peeled up and placed on the shirt. So that's going to be really fun. Sometimes transfer paper works with it. Sometimes it doesn't. I do have heat transfer tape. But I've never tried trying to transfer the letters like this with heat transfer tape before. So there's that. Now remember, with your print and cut dimensions, that is 6.75 by 9.25. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my image. This is the image that I use with one of my tutorials. So let me take out the background so I can see this better. Okay, so the width can be no more than 6.75. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so that's still within the dimension. If I did the width at 6.75, the height will default at 8.293. So that's still less than 9.25, so we're good, okay? So after you do your design, make sure that all of your design that you actually intend to print and cut is actually flattened. You see when I select this design, I can go to unflatten right here, to unflatten it. But you see, since it says it's unflattened, that means it's flattened. After I do this, I may have to do an on-screen tutorial. You guys, that pattern tutorial, I'm going to include it in the description so that you guys can see how I actually create this design, and it's going to go over some on-screen tips as far as how to set up your print and cut. So now I got it at size, it's within dimension. We're going to click the green button, make it. Okay, so now we're on to this screen. This black box right here is what the Cricut is actually going to read. So that black box is very important. It's just taking a moment to load. With printable transfers, we do not have to mirror the images. So no mirroring, leave it as is. I'm going to select the green button, continue. And it's going to search for my printer. Okay, so send to printer, click green button. And right here you have the option to bleed it or not bleed it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do 2 copies. I'm going to do a test copy first, and then I'm going to do the Avery for Darks. And I don't want it to bleed, so I'm going to take that off. The more you do it, the more you'll learn whether you need to bleed your design or not, what the bleed actually does. As a matter of fact, I'm going to leave the bleed on because I'm doing a test print. So I'm going to leave the bleed on so you can see the difference between the two. You guys, it's really slow. Good grief. 1 copy. And we're going to add the bleed. I don't know why my laptop is being slow now. But thus far, do you guys have any questions? Let me check. I use a regular inkjet. I love that printer. This is right on time. I have an order for 6 picture shirts. Oh, good question. Your question was, get back to it. Should you use sub ink or use a regular printer? It's pros and cons to both. Pros and cons to both, whether you're going to sub it or whether you're going to print it. Now with sublimation, you have the freedom to do a bigger size, and all you have to do is just print it, mirrored, and press it. But with Cricut's print to cut, you're actually limited in your size. So I will use my discretion with that too. Eventually we will get to sublimation, and I will show you guys basic sublimation tips for those who are interested or those that actually need help with it. So I don't know why. You know what? Let me see. This is technology. And see, some of the same issues that I run into, you guys are probably running into yourself. I hope Cricut is not trying to update while we're doing this. Here we go. I hate it when it does this. You see? But in the meantime, go over printers. I actually have 2 printers. I have a Brother, and let's see. I also use my Brother for my printing cuts. It's a Brother 8260. And I use that for my printing cuts, and I actually like to use that as for my printing cuts as well. But I'm actually waiting on ink to come for that. Please check your machine to see if it's connected. I don't know. Sometimes it gives me trouble with my Cricut and my connections. Let me just close out of it all together. And then we'll open it back up. Make sure I didn't miss anybody's questions. I have seen someone do a fuller page on Cricut. Yeah, you got to do registration marks. I mean, I think that's kind of intermediate, but you have to do registration marks and be able to line up everything in order to do that. Registration marks. I'm actually going to just restart. Restart my devices. Yep, there is a way that you can actually do a full sheet and still be able to do a print and cut, but you will have to set up your registration marks, and it's a little advanced. And I mean, it's just, ugh. It's really a pain in the butt. I've been successful with it, but I haven't been as successful to where I could be able to explain it to you guys without making it so complicated. That's the biggest deal. If you know how to do it, that's good. But if you're not able to explain it, that's bad. Yep, registration marks. But see, since I'm a sublimator, I don't really have to worry about trying to exceed the size for the printing cuts, because if I want it to be a bigger size, I just sublimate it. You guys are really going to love the sublimation basics that I'm going to actually add, because it's a lot of people that still have sublimation questions or whatnot, and I'm going to be able to answer them. A lot of people purchasing sublimation machines have conversion questions or whatnot. I'm actually considering getting another printer. So if I got another printer, I will actually do a live conversion. I thought they rotated it and put the size in. It's like, if you do the registration marks, then you have to make sure that you lay on top. Make sure it's like, what you do is you'll have a silhouette of your design. Then after you have a silhouette of the design, then you have the actual design. So you line up both of them with your registration marks so that Cricut will be tricked into thinking that it's actually a cut instead of a print. So it sounded technical just with me actually saying it. Okay, you guys. That's one of the reasons why I don't really feel comfortable teaching it. Okay. So I restart my computer so we can move really fast. Okay. The width is 6.20, no, 6 points, what is it, 25? 75. 6.75. And it defaults to 8.293, like we did in the last time. Go to make it. And remember that this box is what the Cricut reads across here from the over the design. Do not mirror your image. Once you see that your image is okay, we're going to click on the green button, continue. There we go, cut on my printer. I forgot to put them back on. Cut on my printer and my Cricut. You might need to do that if you're doing a print and cut. Okay? So now I'm going to send it to my printer. And we're going to get back to the screen. And I'm actually going to do a test print first to check my colors. It may not be a bad idea for you guys to do that as well. So I'm going to add the bleed to my test print, so that you guys can see how it looks when it's in a bleed. Select my Kodak Barite printer. Leave my bleed on. And it says it's downloaded the image right now, so it's taking a moment to download. Once it downloads, I'm going to click this green button here. And honestly, there it is. So you see, this is how it's going to look. Now also pay in mind, the same exact way that you see it on this sheet is the same exact way that you're going to lay it on your mat. So make sure that it's flushed, and we'll go over it when I place it on my mat, but you want to make sure that it's flushed with those lines as you see it, because if it's not flushed correctly, then you can have off alignment. And I'm going to show you guys when I flush mine, because I never really had a whole lot of problems with it not being aligned up here. A lot of people say, Tyva, I have issues with aligning my print and cut. It cuts off or whatnot. So it's one of those things that you got to kind of practice and play around with in order to get. So I've actually sent it to my printer. When you do a print and cut, it's going to print to your printer first. So it's just taking a moment. And you see it's still doing that. Hello, everyone coming in. Rhonda, my laptop, I mean, I don't know what's going on with it. I cleared a lot off it. It's just crazy. But I know the next time that I do my on-screen demonstration that I'll go ahead and have my Mac. My Mac is pretty good. So I sent it, and it's going to default to these sizes. Let me turn my knob. With my print and cut, I actually cut my print and cuts on light cardstock. do my printing cuts on light cardstock. You can play around with, because it actually depends on your needle, to tell you the truth. So I know my needle has quite a few miles on it. So I print my transfers on light cardstock and I have no issue with that. It's just taking forever. Technology, technology, honey. But I'm glad we actually running into some of these problems, because I hear a lot of my girls say, Tyva, I have so much issues with my print and cut. Let's see what's going on with the printer. Unable to print. Let's see. Okay, go to make it. And we'll just repeat the process. I don't know, I hate it when it does this. And now it's moving a bit faster now. And it's doing the same steps. Make sure that this USB cord is plugged in good. Yep, USB cord is plugged in good. Waiting for it to load on my machine. There we go. Select print. Whenever I have issues with my design space, what I usually do is I just cut all of my machines off and restart them. And usually they move a little bit faster, or that, you know, it all depends on the internet and stuff too. I usually don't have this much issue with trying to do my print and cut. Has anybody else been able to get on Cricut tonight with no issue? Is it just me over here? Hello, trees. Okay. And shucks, I actually want to print up one where it shows the bleed and then do the actual one without the bleed. But shucks, at this rate. Hello, everyone coming in. Hopefully you guys won't have to go through this same thing. Like, I want to get to creating. Yes, I want to get to creating. There we go. Okay, it's sent to the printer. And it's taking a moment for the printer to read it. I don't know why it's taking so long for the printer to actually read. It usually doesn't do this. Let me see something. I'm glad I didn't have an order to work on. If I had an order to work on, I'd be in trouble. There we go. We're going to stick and move, y'all. I'm actually going to plug up my back because I want you guys to be able to see this fluidly. There we go. This is actually a bigger screen, so this is probably going to work out better for you guys. I had the same struggle today. Just had to walk away and find my Okay, Shalonda, I don't feel that bad. Okay, so good. So this is one of the reasons why I said I want to try to go through it in a smooth way, because I haven't been able to find a decent tutorial when I first got started with print and cut. You know, it was a lot of talking. It was a lot of walkthrough. I'm like, just get to the meat and potatoes, please. So like even with this live, what I'm gonna probably end up having to do is to download the live and cut out the first part of the live so that we can go ahead and get to it. Because this right here, this is not gonna work. Okay. Okay, so I got my machines turned on. I got them plugged into my computer. We're gonna rock and roll. For those of you that have come in, I'm gonna show you guys my paper again. This is the Avery for Darks paper transfer sheets that I'm actually using in this tutorial. This is one of the first set of sheets that I've ever used before. So I highly recommend this, especially for beginners. But make sure you get the dark fabric transfers. Don't get the light to do this tutorial. Make sure it says the dark fabric transfers. And Avery brand is a pretty good brand to start off with. You get 5 sheets in the box. This is actually one sheet here. And that's it on the back. And you have 3 flaps, which I'm going to demonstrate how those flaps work. So let's get the crack-a-lackin'. This is a design that I've been working on earlier today. I absolutely love it. You know, that's my middle name. You remember that's the middle name that I used in the last tutorial that I showed you guys last night. So we're going to open up Google Chrome. I'm going to minimize this. There we go. Okay. Get to my tabs. No, we're not going to restore. We're going to go to Cricut Design Space. Chrome is not your default set as default. Also, too, for those that do not know, Chrome browser is the, keep Safari. Okay, Chrome is the browser that you actually want to use Cricut in, because it's going to allow you the options that you need in order to do your projects. So now that I have my project up, I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click customize on it to bring it up. You see, this is so much faster. Okay, so I have my project. You remember the first time around we said we was going to resize it to 6.75 width because of our print and cut dimensions. Print and cut dimensions is 6.75 by 9.25. And when we did this, it's 8.293. So that's below dimension, so we're fine. Click make it. It brings it up here. This black box around here is the box that your Cricut will read in order to cut. Do not mirror your image. Your image, leave it as is. Okay, click the green button. Continue. And we're going to send it to printer. And my printer defaults up. I'm going to do one copy. For my practice sheet, I'm actually going to do add bleed. So it's reading it, downloading the image here on the mat. The same exact way that you see it in this window is the same exact way that you need to place it on your mat. On your mat, same exact way. So we're going to go to print. And right now, I'm just doing a test print to check out my ink. Okay, so I just sent it to the printer. And move you guys over a little bit. And it takes a moment to read. This is the process that actually gets a lot of people frustrated with it. But you see with me, whenever something doesn't go right, I try to move around because I want to, you know, you want to be flexible in your methods. If you get frustrated and you got to walk away for a second, then do your walk away and come back to it. But I do not want you guys to be intimidated by print and cut. Print and cut has really changed my business and changed my crafting, and it's given me the flexibility to do different things. There we go. So after that menu goes, then that's when it's supposed to be moving over to your printer. Okay. Now it's printing. This is our test sheet, remember. I'm going to have to print it again. Because I want you guys to see the bleed. Okay, the color still looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to cancel it and reprint it again. Make it. And while it's reading, then I'll tell you guys more about this. With this Varight printer, your sheet, your back is to the back and the front is to the front. Just to give you guys a heads up if you have this printer or you're thinking about getting it, and you just slide it to the back like that. Okay, send it to the printer. And then we're not going to bleed with this one. Okay, so as that's loading for our actual sheet, oh, okay, good. It loads much faster. I don't know if you can really see it because of the pattern, but you'll see with the bleed right here, it has extra parts of the lettering. So what it does is it actually cuts into the bleed so that it doesn't have any white. Now sometimes if you cut it without a bleed, it will cut around it and it'll leave white, especially if it's unaligned. So if you bleed your image, it's much more forgiving than not bleeding. Okay, we're ready to rock and roll, y'all. So it's printing up. I have my transfer sheet. How does Avery? Oh, actually, I did, Lucy, I did a shirt for my daughter, practice shirt. And that shirt lasted so long. I didn't wash it separately. I didn't turn it inside out. Avery for Darks holds up really, really well. Thanks for the video. My question is, how can I be more motivated to have all the tools and crafting? Well, you gotta have a passion for it, Lucy. Like with me, I'm just a natural crafter. I love crafting. So sometimes in order for me to get my motivation going, I want to try something new. So this is one of the reasons why I'm trying to introduce something new to you guys every day for the next 30 days. Okay? So I'm going to flush. Take my time and flush it to the lines. You want the paper on the line, not past the line. So just take your time and really apply it like so. And I'm going to show you guys what I mean by flush. I mean, like, it's like right on the line. You can really tell, like, right here. So it's like right on the line. So once I have it set up, I'm going to move over to my Cricut. Now, I actually have my settings set on light cardstock. That's the 3 o'clock position. So it may vary from Cricut to Cricut depending upon your needle sharpness. But that is the setting that I actually have been successful with my print and cuts. So now that I printed it, the start button is actually blinking. So we're going to press that. And we're going to be ready to rock and roll. Once the mat is loaded, the Cricut button is going to actually blink. You want to click on that. And you're actually going to see, right now, this process is the process of the Cricut reading the black box. And I'm actually going to go ahead and fire up my heat press. Because guess what? We're going to press this bad boy tonight. Now, I don't know if we're going to press the letter Nicole or not, because in order to do this, you have to pull the letters off and lay them in a fashion to where it's good. I may try to attempt it. I may not. I honestly don't even feel like going through that tonight. But when you have individual letters for print and cut, it's best to probably use vinyl, because vinyl has a carrier sheet to hold all the letters together. But if you do like a knockout, a photo knockout with your lettering, be prepared to have to lay those letters down. And I have heat thermal tape, but I'm scared if I put the heat thermal tape that it would damage the transfer. So we're not going to try that. I haven't tried that yet before. Okay, so now the Cricut has already read all of the black lines around the design. And tonight I'm going to be pressing on this shirt, this beautiful coral shirt. What do you mean by transfer sheet? What kind of transfer sheet are you talking about, sweetie? You have printable transfers. You have the transfer sheet that goes with the HTV to help you carry the design over to your shirt or whatever else you're pressing. And you also have a clear transfer sheet to help you carry vinyl over. So what transfer sheet are you talking about? Okay? I'm going to fold my shirt, because I'm going to give you guys a basic shirt orientation. A lot of people ask HTV. With HTV, you want to, I'm actually going to do one of those classes, but with HTV, you want to have the shiny side down and the dull side up. And you don't print in the transfer sheet, you print on the actual vinyl. So I know that might sound a little confusing now, but it'll sound a whole lot better when I actually do it. So stay tuned so we can do an HTV project, because I think we might be doing that sometime this week. So I get a question. A lot of people ask me, Tyva, how do I know what's the middle of my shirt? Do not go by the tag of the shirt. The companies don't measure to put it exactly in the middle. You don't want to use the middle of the tag for the middle of the shirt. You don't want to use that as a guide. What I do is I get my shirt and I get it corner for corner like that. Like that. Match the corners. And I just throw it a little bit. You know, like you fold in towels. So I have my middle crease right here, right? So that is my middle crease. Now what I want you to pay attention to is your shirt right here. From collar to shoulder. the middle. You want to fold that in the middle. So for here to here, you want to fold the middle like that. And you can tell what's the middle because you're actually folding it. This is how you would normally fold your shirt anyway. So now we have the middle. Now, why I'm showing you this is this because I'm going to actually press this on the machine. And I'm going to show you what a shirt quadrant is. So this is one of the most important things that you could probably learn with shirt creating. And I just give it a light press for maybe like 10 seconds. And it doesn't even have to be at full temperature. The temperature now is like 190, just like the pressure of an iron. Okay? Let's see if I got my creases. Okay, I got a little crease. I'll go ahead and shut this because we actually done with that. So now you see your creases. You see? You have a good crease in the middle. And then you got this right here. Now let me tell you what's so awesome about what we just did. A lot of people get confused. They're like, Tyva, I don't know how to know what size design that I actually need. By pressing our shirt like that, we came up with our shirt quadrant. So get your handy dandy measuring tape. Tyva, how wide do I need to make my design? You see this line here? This is a 3X shirt. You see that right there? Going across from line to line, you actually have 19 inches of workable space. You see? And it's funny how it's like right on the line. You have 19 inches of workable space. So you guys know I've been doing this for a while. So if I want to measure this across and say I don't want to do my design 19 inches because that's really big. But in actuality, that's all of this from line to line is what is going to be shown. So you don't want to make it bigger than this because that's when the design starts going under the arm. So if I have 19 inches of workable space, I can actually make this design about 14 inches wide and it will still be a good size design. So if you have trouble sizing your designs, that is how I figure out what size my designs are. Okay. A lot of people, you know what, Lucy? I've been having trouble with it, but once I got on my Mac desktop, then we were able to move smoothly. Okay. So now we're about to get to peeling our print and cut. Okay. Peeling our print and cut. Now the good thing about Avery and most sheets, transfer sheets, it comes with 3 slits. So you're able to just kind of maneuver it like this and pull your slits off like that. You see it pulls that end right off. We're not going to worry about that too much because it's not going to stick. So you just pull off your slits like this. And be careful because this transfer tape, or this transfer paper is very easy to rip. So just take your time. Don't just yank it like you're crazy. Okay. There. Here's our weed. Toss that. I'm just going to peel this up. And you don't want to place your transfer paper on your shirt while it's under the press because it will melt. So you remember I said when we're doing a 2X, well, I'm working on a 3X shirt. How do I know it's the middle? I have my middle line here. And I just fold my transfer like this. Like do a little bend, maybe at the top. And then that way, I can just line it up like that. And that's how I know I have the middle of my shirt. And honestly, instead of putting the coal at the bottom, I think I might put it at the top. This is just going to be my nightie shirt. So getting my tape measure, you see I said originally that I was going to do the design 14 inches. This is like half the size that it should be. And that's one of the reasons why when I have 3X, or actually extra large and up shirts, if I can get away with it, I would much rather sublimate them than to actually do a print and cut because it looks like a small piece of design on a whole big shirt. But I'm going to love this nightie shirt. So now I'm still waiting on my heat press to heat up. Heat press instructions. With this Avery for darks, I do not press it on no higher than 310. 310 is see, and you see how it wasn't aligned a little bit? The lettering was off. So I cut the lettering off, but we're gonna roll with it. Place it like that. But you do not want to cut it above 310 degrees because your transfer will get stuck and it won't come out right at all. Because I remember now with HTV, I usually do my HTV at between 320 and 330. If it's like a silver, not silver, but if it's like what is it? If it's like the glitter transfers, the glitter HTV, then I would do it at 350 just to make sure it sticks. Holographic, definitely at 350. So I'm just peeling my letters off and placing them. Like that. If you can do a design to have to avoid you from doing this, that'd be good. Okay, so that's that. So that is how I'm gonna lay it. Do you do sublimation shirts? Oh yes, I try to. Actually, I want to provide a better service to the customer. So whenever I have to do shirts extra large and up, I try to talk to them about doing a sublimation design instead of a print and cut, because I want to be able to use, because this is half of the size that it actually needed to be on this large shirt. So that's one of my pet peeves. You know, a lot of people have pet peeves when they do their crafting. One of my pet peeves is making sure that the design is the size that it needs to be for a shirt, because I don't like the small design on a big shirt. But this is my shirt. So I'm going to move you guys on over to the heat press. Okay, move you on over to the heat press. And I'm going to show you how I lay this shirt. Now transferring this to the heat press, that's kind of tricky. What I do is I go ahead and cover it up with my parchment and just fold my shirt over and try to transfer it very carefully. Like this. Okay. Heat press is set to pretty moderate pressure. I have to give it good press. Now with your transfer, you want to make sure that you give it a good press one time. This is not something that you press multiple times, because each time you press, you can damage your transfer. So I'm looking through my transfer to make sure everything is lined up. If the heat gets to it, it will curl up. Keep that in mind. This is something that you got to really practice, you guys. I've done quite a few. I've done probably over 2,200 shirts in the last 2.5 years now. Okay, so now the temperature, I want to keep it at 310 degrees. So my heat press is now at, look at that, 310. That lets you know how long I've been doing it. It's just, you guys, look. I've been doing this for a long time. T-shirts on my baby. So I got it at 309. It went down one temperature, but it's at 309. We're good. At 310 now. Give it a good press. And for newbies, I highly recommend you do something called a cool press. Well, cool, it's just for 10 seconds. I just cut it off at 12. We're good. What you want to do is something called a cold. You want to take the parchment off cold. You don't want to take it off when it's too hot, because it can cause buckling. It can cause rips in your design. So I actually have my press set to my next to my air conditioning vent, you saw. So I use the air conditioning vent, or sometimes I hold it up and kind of give it a good shake to try to cool it off coming off the shirt. So I'm going to move my shirt back. Okay, so I moved my shirt, and the parchment is still warm. So we're going to press Just kind of smooth it out. And pull it gently. And there we go. We have our heat press, well, our print and cut. Sorry about the technical difficulties earlier. Some things happen. I'm going to take my phone off this tripod because I want you guys to see this. So what you, and my L is even a little crooked, unless the shirt is crooked. Nope, the shirt was crooked. So that is it, you guys. So you see with the print and cut, it was a little off aligned. So with this design moving forward, more than likely I will actually put the bleed on it. So it will cut through the bleed and I won't have that white outline. You remember we talked about that earlier. So even though I didn't have any transfer paper to transfer over, the white actually looked like it's a shadow, which it turned out good. So this is my shirt, my sleeper shirt. I'm actually going to wear this tonight, you guys. I've been working so hard. So what I'm going to include in the description, but before I go, I want you guys to really, I'm hoping, okay, good. Look in the L right here. You see, look in the L. You see those little fine lines? These are shirt lines. That is how you know that your transfer was a good press. Some people say, well, Tyva, I do my transfers and they wash out in the wash. It's because you have to look out for these fine lines, these shirt lines. And you want to make sure if you see those shirt lines, that is a good press. That means that it's embedded into the shirt mostly. And I like Avery because it's pretty thin. It's like thin like paper, you guys, even thinner than paper. So it's really thin. So with the proper heat and the proper pressure, it adheres to the shirt really well. So that's it, you guys. You guys have any questions about this technique? I'm sorry for the technical difficulties earlier. What I'm probably going to end up doing is downloading the video and cutting it to the part where we actually could work. And also in this video, I'm going to include the links to where I got my printer from. I'm going to include a link to where you can get the Avery from. I'm also going to include a link to the video showing you guys the on-screen of how I created this design. And I think that's all the resources. But whatever resources that you guys are looking for, I'm going to include it in the description. And if you guys had some FAQs, I'm going to actually include a couple of FAQs into the description box. You said, what kind of paper? I use Avery for darks. At the beginning of this video, I actually show a picture of it, but I'm going to include a link. But I actually use a couple other brands, but for newbies starting off, I highly recommend you guys go with that. So that's it, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to edit this video and post it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night.